In this segment, it's gonna be short. I try to make a series of shorter videos where I discuss topics as simply as I can, because sometimes I think the highest truths are simple, and a lot of times people try to get overly complicated, and either you lose people or people try to make things harder than it's supposed to be, right? So now is the concept of imagination. Imagination was always something that we've spoken about for a lot of people have spoken about for a while. Everyone's fascinated with imagination, whether you're talking about spiritual people, whether you're talking about people who are into art, science fiction, like myself. Everyone, a lot of people have been fascinated with imagination and to some extent the subconscious mind. Even though I think with the subconscious mind, people tend to be scared of the subconscious. Imagination, even though it's always associated with the subconscious, that's been the one that's the more glamorous of the two, right? But in a lot of ways, sometimes this has also led to a kind of like a joining between spiritualists and people who are into science fiction or art, music, whatever the case may be, where a lot of times the two worlds, the art world, right, no matter what type of art it is, and the spiritual are combined, or they combine certain things, and sometimes you have it where people will try to do things like decode movies and understand how the, I guess you could say, the most some higher truths are accessed through the imagination, and sometimes logic can't understand the highest truths, which is true. But what people don't really realize is the imagination, as you know it, can't understand highest truths either. The imagination is the door to get those higher truths, but it doesn't, by itself, it's not going to understand it. That's why a lot of times you could have real life concepts like where we talking about, like let's say you combine superhero movies, The Matrix, whatever the case might be, right? You get these things. Yeah, they have truths in them, but no spiritualist would think or would confuse those truths with being the higher truths. Not even the highest, higher, right? Because why? Because there's a limit of what the imagination can do. The imagination is like a garden. If you want to grow plants and things like that, whether it's angiosperms, geosperms, different type of plants, right? You would still have to kind of read a little bit, experiment a little bit, and logically be able to do certain things and know how to use fertilizer, right, to be able to grow a beautiful garden. Well, your imagination and subconscious is like a garden, literally. And if you don't know how to take care of it, and if you don't really know what's the base, I guess you could say the foundation of what it's built on. Yes, you could say the foundation is thought, right? Because at the end of the day, when you understand the world, the universe is the holographic universe, or thoughts create reality. These are concepts that attract a lot of people to the spiritual world. But what one thing people don't really realize though is that yeah, thoughts do create reality, and your reality, there's no question. I don't care who you are. Would your reality exist based on your thoughts? Whether it's your thoughts from this life, whether it's your thoughts from other lives, your reality now is based on your thoughts. It's probably based on thoughts of your ancestors as well, right? It's stored in yourselves. But the problem comes in is that in order to change it, you got to first know the laws that is governing your current reality in terms of the physical part of your reality. So yeah, we can say, well, thoughts create everything, and in another world, another universe, a parallel universe, if I think about something, it's gonna come true there. Of course, but most people want to be able to change their lives now. So a lot of times, certain things stay the same because, in a lot of ways, what people don't really realize is most don't have a basic understanding of science at all. That's why all you have to do is look at our spiritual. If you look at most spiritual movements, especially in modern times, they tend to be fixated on external principles that they haven't even really understood logically or scientifically, right? So you could even say some people are fixated on women being gods. Some people are fixated on certain races being gods, certain races being superior. And this is not a moral stance to say, well, morally that's wrong to believe that. Or even some groups have a very fixated on the fact that we're superior to Mother Nature, we're superior to the physical world. So whether you think we're superior to the physical world, a certain gender is the supreme, a certain race is the supreme, those are things that are really more based on emotion. And a lot of times what happens is the imagination, just like the intuition, is susceptible to emotion. So then that's why it needs logic to balance it. So yes, we could look at the Kabbalion. Even the Kabbalion says you can't change the law, but you could bend it, right? You could bend the law. What does that really mean? Well, it means in a sense, in order to bend the law, you must first know what the laws are. And most of us, unfortunately, don't know what the laws are. And because we don't know what the laws are, we can't change it. So that comes from a lack of scientific understanding. Because whether you're the alien crowd, whether you're the New Age crowd, whether you're your conscious community crowd, whether you're a crowd that pushes pro womanhood, which is nothing wrong with none of those things. But most people who go to those things don't really look at how does it match up logically, mathematically, scientifically. Most people don't. And in a sense, because of that, your brain, just like your cells, your body runs itself without you knowing about you don't have to know anything about heartbeats and circulation and certain kidneys and energy. Your kidneys have govern this type of elemental energy. Your liver governs this type of elemental energy. You don't have to understand any of that, and your body will still function. In fact, your body is such a machine that if you just eat right, not all the time, there's environmental factors, genetic factors, but 60, 70% of the time, you be all right just off that. You don't even have to know how it works totally. And it's such a machine that because of that, it will still get it. It will still perform, right? So, in a way, right, the health part is actually easier. But in order to change the fabric of what we understand thought and the universe is, no, you got to kind of know, you got to have a basic understanding of the laws. And if you don't have at least a high school understand, I probably take college understanding, but let's just say for now, high school understanding of science, you're not going to change the law. The machine that your mind and body is will not change it. So then that's why it takes so long to change your existence or to change your personality or to change your circumstances. It takes long because your mind is a machine. It's not going to change it if you're governed in ignorance. That's why some people say the imagination is either it gives you wisdom or folly. It gives you wisdom or folly because most people folly mean foolishness or foolishness or foolhardy things, right? Folly in the sense that most people are going to go down that route. So then what happens? Their thoughts don't change anything, or it doesn't change it when they want to. So out of 10 people who get into spirituality, 5 drop out, 5 don't. But out of those 5 that don't, 4 of them stay, but they just stay because of pride. They stay, but nothing changes. So then they lose passion for it. And only one makes it, right? And when they lose passion for it, people don't really realize passion is important. Passion just needs to be transmuted. Once you lose passion towards something, you lose the base of giving yourself that material that you could transmute to something else. So though a lot of people may not like the scientific direction, that's why the scientific direction is much needed. Hope this helps. Until next time, peace.